What if I told you that the most terrifying story Stephen King ever created is about to get even darker? Welcome to Derry is coming, and this prequel series is going to change everything you thought you knew about IT. I've spent weeks diving deep into every leaked detail, every casting announcement, and every hidden clue about this show, and what I've discovered is absolutely insane. If you're a fan of horror, of Stephen King, or of the IT movies, you need to hear this. Let's dive in. So first, let's talk about what Welcome to Derry actually is. This isn't just another remake or reboot. This is a prequel series set in the cursed town of Derry, Maine, and it's going back to 1962, decades before the Losers Club ever faced Pennywise. The series is being produced by HBO Max, and here's the kicker. Andy Muschietti, the director of the IT Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 movies, is directly involved as an executive producer. His sister Barbara Muschietti is also producing, so we know this is going to have that same terrifying DNA that made the movies so successful. But here's where it gets interesting. The show isn't just focusing on Pennywise's feeding cycle in the 1960s. According to reports, the series will span multiple time periods, potentially showing us different eras of Derry's dark history. We're talking about the true origins of the evil that haunts this town. And if you've read the book, you know that Derry's history is filled with massacres, disappearances, and unexplained tragedies going back hundreds of years. This series has the potential to explore all of that. Now let's get into the timeline, because this is where things get really creepy. The main story takes place in 1962, which is exactly 27 years before the events of IT Chapter 1. And if you remember from the movies and the book, Pennywise awakens every 27 years to feed. So 1962 would be the previous feeding cycle before the Losers Club's encounter in 1989. But here's what makes this so chilling. In the original novel, Stephen King mentions several horrific events that happened in Derry during the 1960s, including the disappearance of multiple children and a particularly brutal incident at a local factory. The series is reportedly going to show us these events in graphic detail. We're going to see how Pennywise operated before anyone knew to call him by that name. We're going to see the terror through the eyes of a completely different generation. And according to insider reports, the show will also feature flashbacks to even earlier time periods, possibly including the infamous Black Spot incident from 1930, and maybe even going back to the 1700s when Pennywise first arrived in what would become Derry. Imagine seeing the evolution of this evil across centuries. The showrunners have said they want to explore why Derry itself seems to enable and hide Pennywise's crimes. It's not just about the clown, it's about the town's complicity, the way adults turn a blind eye, and the way the community protects its dark secrets. Now let's talk about who's bringing this nightmare to life. The casting has been kept relatively secretive, but we do know some key details. The series will feature a new ensemble cast of characters, likely including both children and adults who will face Pennywise during this 1962 cycle. But here's the million-dollar question everyone's asking. Who's playing Pennywise? Bill Skarsgård absolutely owned that role in the movies, giving us one of the most terrifying performances in modern horror. There's been speculation about whether he'll return for flashback sequences or if the show will introduce a new actor to portray the dancing clown in this earlier era. Some reports suggest the show might explore Pennywise taking on different forms entirely, which would be faithful to the source material where IT appears as various manifestations based on people's fears. The showrunners have hinted that we'll see Pennywise in ways we've never seen before, potentially more abstract and even more disturbing than the clown form. As for the human characters, the series is reportedly focusing on a group of people in Derry who begin to notice the pattern of disappearances and try to investigate, only to be met with hostility and denial from the community. Think of it as a horror mystery where the stakes are children's lives and the killer is an ancient cosmic entity. The dynamic between those who see the truth and those who refuse to acknowledge it is going to be a major theme.